Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a space taxi. That's right, this is not the most straightforwardly named beer. It is an American West Coast pale, 5.6%. It's a pale, not an IPA, but it's a West Coast pale. Let's be honest, the pale market is nothing if not a little convoluted in terms of terminology, but nonetheless, this is from Frome Brewing Company. It's called Space Taxi, and this was one of the beers that Slice UK sent me quite a while ago. So if you want to see the others that he sent me, there's still one or two left to do. Click up there to see more. However, I'm a little bit worried about opening this one, and that is because it's rock solid, that can. And I feel like I've seen other people open this and it was a bit lively, so we could get soaked here today. And I've just changed my t-shirt because the one I was wearing was dirty and now that seems a little redundant. So here's the glass. Before we potentially get soaked, here is a look at the can for you good people. Pretty funky artwork, I think we'll agree. It's only a little stubby 330ml can, so I guess if we do get wet, we might not get as wet. What do I do here? I guess we pray. Ready? You know what? I'm chickened out. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's get a big glass on hand in case it really does go bad and we need to catch it super quick. Oh, it's like playing Minesweeper. I think we're okay. Whoa. Okay, big glass can go back. Right then. See how she pours. It is quite lively. It's going to have to be a very slow pour, this. Wow, I mean, I'm hardly putting anything into the glass there, and it is absolutely, I mean, there's a crummy pour and then there's that. Okay, well, I mean, we were warned, so while that's thinking about whether it wants to be a beer or a Mr. Whippy, let's see what the aromas are saying. It's got quite a fruity, fresh, floral thing at a distance, so I'm expecting big flavours from this. That does actually smell very appealing. Classic West Coast profile, but a bit fresher and a bit sweeter possibly than your typical. It doesn't smell like it's going to be especially bitter. The fruits in there, it's got, I guess, the traditional citrusy bag, but I don't know, there's a bit of grape in that or something. That kind of, I don't know, just an ever so slightly sweeter fruit, but not a berry, not a melon. Nothing crazy sweet, but there's definitely something just taking the edge off there. It's more grassy than it is piney, but whether what we're getting is a true reflection given, I mean, it's expanding foam, that, isn't it? That's mad, look how much I can... Nothing comes out, wow. Okay. Let's see if we can get any more in. I mean, it's just the absolute... It's fair to say, I think, that something didn't go quite right with the brew on this. It smells impeccable, but there's obviously a body and carbonation issue here. Because look, I can throw that around in the glass, and that carbonation does absolutely nothing. We're quite violent with this now, and nothing's fallen out. I mean, that's a trick pint. Look! What on earth? That is a grade A building material. Look at it. Nothing. Well, it might be a magic trick. How does it taste? Let's see if we can taste anything first of all. Cheers. That's actually really nice. That is really nice. Unsurprisingly, the beer itself now actually seems quite flat because I think it was so carbonated that, well, it's just all ended up in foam in the top, and that foam is so dense. I mean, I was about to say I proved it a lot of times, and now I've got a wet hand, so that was clever. Bar towel to the rescue. This is not actually a bar towel. I should use my actual one tonight, but this is the one that sits under the tap just in case. But hey, it's got all of those West Coast flavours, but it's really, I was right, it's not bitter. Not really at all. It's about as bitter, or as a bitter, which sounds like it should be bitter, but in comparison to a proper West Coast pale, it's not. Let's see if we can actually get any more beer to sample. Because right now, I've not even got a third of a pint of actual liquid beer to enjoy with this. I mean, how ridiculous can we? It's an art piece now, isn't it? I've never had, I don't know what the right word is, this much unexpected recreational use out of a beer. I mean, this is, I've never done a review where I've had to play with the beer, to be honest. So, I mean, this should be screaming out, this isn't great, given that. But for those of you that don't speak, mouthful of foam, that was, despite that, this is actually quite good. Don't excuse the motorbike that just went loudly past the house while I was talking. That foam's a bit more bitter, actually. Unsurprising though. Right, let's see, try and get another sample. We're going to go for a top to bottom taste test, given that's about all the beer we've got for. So, initially, actually touch sweet on the front of the tongue, which is quite uncommon for a West Coast. It's not a lot of carbonation as a result of all the foam that's in there now. The body is not thick, but it's quite a silky quality to it. There is a tiny bit of carbonation spike if you kind of sit it there long enough, I guess. Second phase, a little drying, a little grassy, not huge amounts of flavour. Throughout the whole thing, you just get a bit of generic hop flavour, nothing particularly standing out. I'm going to tell you what variety or varieties it is. And then on the swallow, as with a lot of beers, that's when the big kind of splash of flavour hits. It's sweet, it's slightly floral. Again, it's got that sweet fruitness that's not anything too descriptive. It's a touch grapey, possibly, but I'm not kind of hard set on it tastes like grapes. It really doesn't. It's just got a sweet fruit element to it that's not, again, anything really obvious. For something that, I mean, behaves awfully in a glass, and let's be honest, every word I've said is not particularly like, it doesn't have any hugely strong bold flavours. It's actually pretty well rounded, weirdly. It's so a tiny bit of malt on the back, slightly hoppy aftertaste. This is one of those times where you do a review, or you have a thing in life in general, that by all known standards should really not be very good. But the core beer there is actually sublime. They just need to figure out the carbonation issue, and I mean, I do feel like that issue might be impeding my ability to get some proper tasting notes out of it, but right. I'm really not getting a lot more out of it, so let's take a look at the can. As we said, Space Taxi, ABV 5.6%, West Coast Pale Ale from Frome Brewing Company, or Frome. Inspired by Elon Musk's SpaceX reusable rockets, our plucky hero is ferrying hops to one of our colonies. That's fair enough. This series of beer keeps the same base recipe but changes the hop. The same hop will be used in 3 different ways in the beer: bittering, whirlpool and dry hop. The malt, yeast and water treatment will be the same each time. By this process the drinker will be able to focus on what the hop brings. This one is brewed with El Dorado hops. Interesting. It says tasting notes are flavours of mango and pineapple and aroma of pears, watermelon and stone fruit. Right, so let's break this down a little bit. So flavour, mango and pineapple. So mango's quite acidic, but with a sweet edge. Yes, this has that. I can see the argument for it. I'm not strongly, it's not huge in that area, but it has that acidity and sweetness, so yeah, fine. Definitely not really picking out mango though. Aroma of pear, watermelon and stone fruit. I guess pears, if you break it down, are sweet, kind of low intensity fruit with a kind of a earthy, grassy edge to it, which this does match. The watermelon, there's a refreshing cue to it, but I'm not huge on the stone fruit. Again, it's the same kind of earthiness that's in the pear, I guess, so maybe is all I can really say. Food pairing, this one is smooth. Pair it with pizza or a succulent roasted meat. Yeah, it would be banging with a good pizza, I will be honest. Frome Brewing Company is a family-run craft brewery based in Frome, Somerset. Using the finest local ingredients, we have been brewing unique and multi-award-winning beer since 1999. Then it has just all their company information, sales information. This beer is unrefined and as such may be naturally cloudy. It certainly is. This beer can is conditioned, do not pour the last drop. Probably should have read that before, but hey, some people like the suds. To be honest, this can, to say that, it didn't really change when I poured the end in, so not an issue. And that is all there is on it. So what can we say? Well, I think it's fair to say excellent idea, excellent taste, slightly questionable execution. I would recommend you try it, especially if someone has it on tap, for example. That would mitigate a lot of these issues and probably open something up a bit more fruit heavy, as they suggested. Had it with a few beers now that are a bit more sweet and well-rounded on tap, actually end up being a bit more traditionally citric in the can, I suppose. So that might be happening here. Who knows? I haven't had it on tap, so I can't comment. But you know what? For all its faults, that's a cracking beer. And I think I've been whittling long enough. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.